All right, everybody, welcome back to the after show of episode 21, the holiday special with Silver Letomi and Nobbel the Noble. All right, let's go. Woo! We're back. Woo!
Woo!
Yeah.
Yay!
Yay! I've got Bubbly again.
You've got Bubbly again? Really?
I've got Bubbly
Bubbly.
again.
Where's
jealous?
my glass?
I have...
I thought you were going to send me some of that stuff.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at water.
I've got
What is
it
this?
right here.
What is this? I'm looking
Nobbel's not sharing. Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. What is this? Come on now.
I
Whoop, whoop,
wish
whoop,
that I
whoop.
could.
All right. I'm stuck. Okay, there we go.
Next
Perfect.
BlizzCon, we're gonna share some Bubblies.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I can't even imagine.
Did you come to BlizzCon last time, Nobbel?
I did not have the money or the time or whatnot.
Yep.
You
I
have
wish
to
I
come
did.
next year. You must.
I'm gonna do my best. Yup.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
My guild
we'll
is
see.
thinking of getting a house. That's how many of us come to BlizzCon.
Damn, awesome.
Yeah,
Nice.
we're going to... I definitely think we have to plan something next year, Anna, that we need to get something together.
Yeah.
Like, we should get, like, a Final Boss house or something and have a bunch of our guests and other personalities, like, stay with us, too, so we all have
I don't know
rent
if
or
a
something.
house would work. My living space would be promised elsewhere because if my guild got a house, then I would stay with my guild.
Well, that's what I mean. But,
But-
like, we could put something together for us. And,
We
like,
would have to have like a party of some kind, like the convert to raid party, but on a smaller scale. We should totally do that.
Well, or we could just crash Convert to Raids party.
Or we could have a convert to raid party on the same scale as what they had. Their
There
party
you
was
go.
awesome.
Their party was awesome. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. We'll see. It's going to be crazy to think about where Final Boss will be next BlizzCon.
Yeah.
Can go
So-
fast, man. Can go real fast.
You guys
'Cause
are off
we'll-
to a great start.
It's going to be interesting to see how it's going to happen, but...
Mhm.
Get a palace. We should get a palace, Anna. Chat room is saying. Not a house, but a palace.
A palace.
A castle. Yeah. But that would be really fun. That'd be a lot of fun. So,
Yep.
Yep. Good stuff. But anyway, I had some questions. There was a couple of little things that I think we skipped over during the show that we could talk about. I had an idea of, we have the dungeon journal in game. We didn't really talk about like in-game stuff, honestly, but the dungeon journal in the game tells you about, you know, a little bit about the boss and then the mechanics and stuff. But what if there was a lore book like the dungeon journal that actually had all of the collected, like, because there are books in World of Warcraft that you can like go around and like read. If all those were in one UI, and then they were also like family treed or tied together with all the actual characters in the past, present, and the future of the game. Like if they were like, you know, if that was like a UI element, if that was something that was you could just tangibly look at, would that be cool?
That'd be cool.
It would be awesome, but I think it
I'd
would
be
be
so in for that.
impossible.
Think it'd be possible?
Your game file would be huge, man.
Would
So
it
much
be?
lore is in the game, so many tiny details that you could fill a
Yeah.
library with it.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, that's rough. I don't know. That would be really, really fun if we could get something like that.
It's an awesome idea, definitely, but they're trying to do it on the WoW website right now. They've improved with the character stories and
Yeah.
a small description of the lore of each expansion, each patch. But it's just so much to cover that you can't get all those details in.
Gotcha.
At least, I don't think it would be possible.
I just think that it would be so much easier way for them to be able to control, like knowing who characters are in the game. If it was something that would be a lot more tangible, but that'd be fun. Like if it was because I think about again, drink.
Instead of like Dungeon Finder having like NPC Finder.
Well, even that, but in Star Wars: The Old Republic, you make your legacy, and you have you drag and drop your family tree based on. It's obviously like not real. But you can tell if you're like your enemies or friends or lovers or family members or whatever, and you drag them all in, and you put all your characters in your family tree, and you can drag it all out and put all your things in there, what class they are, what race they are, all this stuff. You can build it all right there in the game engine. And then you have stories about all of your characters as you quest. You fill out like logs in your legacy guide or whatever, the little achievement window thing you have there. So you can read your whole story that has been tailored to your character. And like if they've done it, I know there's so many more characters in World of Warcraft. It's just your character in Star Wars. But that would
Yeah.
be fun, I think.
Yeah, it would be amazing, and people get interested in the story that
Yeah.
that gives them a different reason to play and another dimension behind it. So yeah, I would
Absolutely.
be all for it if it's possible. But then again, they also just released the WoW Ultimate Visual Guide, which is the basic lore behind WoW, and
Yep.
even in that book, they made a couple of mistakes, and
Yeah.
so yeah, it would be difficult to get all that lore collected.
Yeah, we talked about that, how you were kind of frustrated that there were some things that weren't totally correct, but yeah.
Well, I don't mind if they make mistakes, but this one was so bad. You had an article on WoWWiki that was wrong, and they've copied that article from WoWWiki into their official Blizzard book. Yeah.
What, really?
Really.
Seriously?
Seriously.
They went through WoWWiki.
The mistake was a really, really small detail. Ner'zhul took, I believe, 3 artifacts from Azeroth. And in fact, he did 2, but the article, he used 3 artifacts, but he collected 2 from Azeroth, and they made that mistake in the book.
Yeah.
And I've changed the article on WoWWiki now. I hope WoWpedia has followed up with that. But that's just sloppy. I mean, you should know your lore, especially for Blizzard, and you're going to call it canon, because they've said that this book is canon. And there are a couple of things like Arthas' true nature was that he was going to slaughter everybody in Strethal. That was not his true nature. That Arthas' story is that it's a downfall of a good guy into a bad guy.
Correct.
So there are a couple of things that I'm like, are you really want to call this canon? You sure? But yeah, that's just me.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, he's a tragic hero, so... But while we're on this, I have my, all the questions right here. If you send us some questions, I also have Twitter pulled up. If you guys have questions for us on Twitter, you can definitely throw those at us as well. But the first one I had, this was interesting because people were asking about it during the show, but we couldn't really address it. Behind you, Nobbel, there is something very special that someone made and sent to you. Would you mind showing us that painting and tell us about it?
I wouldn't mind. Well, it's not really a painting. It's digital art. Hang on.
Hey. Digital artists like to be referred as painters too. But sure, let's look at this real quick. I'll switch over to you. It's awesome. Do you have like I would love like a high-res picture of that too. That'd be epic.
This was made before by a fan, just out of the blue, without a request. Zanchetin, it says. I should have to look up his name to get it. It's on Facebook and it's linked. And the beautiful, lovely Miss Fury W got it in a poster for me, as a little reminder, as to never give up.
That is awesome.
That's really cool.
It's amazing, and it's normally it hangs behind my computer on the wall. I've changed things around a little bit, wanted to show it.
Yep.
But yeah, this is my reminder of never giving up, and Miss Fury has been very, very supportive the last year, and without her, I wouldn't be where I am today. So Miss Fury, if you're listening in, awesome, man.
There was a question that was posed, like, who exactly is Miss Fury W?
Miss Fury W is a very, very dear friend of mine.
That's all.
And the rest of the details are details.
Yep. But that's an awesome picture. It is. Everyone is not. That is your character. That is your female paladin in the game.
Oh yeah, check it out, man. I had the Thunder King helmet, and he placed that next to it.
Yep.
Then he made like this quest book that's hanging next to me. I'm reading in my little book with my holy power. Yep. My tabard flowing next to me on the rock, and then my weapon is just chilling there, you know, because I'm reading my lore. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Now the question is does that artist take commissions?
There you go.
Because that's awesome, and that's also something that we should link to people after the video if that's the case.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm sorry.
We'll have to credit the artist though, because I'm really impressed. I would pay for something like that with my character. Yeah. I'm really picky about art. I think commissions are really cool, and to have somebody put the character that you play into a piece of art is really awesome. And that's definitely a talented artist there who did that for you.
Absolutely.
Special.
I'm gonna look up his name real quick.
Sure.
I'll let you continue. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tommy can take this next question then while we break away from World of Warcraft. I know people were asking about it, and I guess we'll take your side about this. Don't go crazy. It's not as bad as it seems. But people were freaking out about the new copyright. And Zebrios of Kol Terras writes in, what do you think, or what do the content creators think about YouTube's recent commitment to cracking down on copyright infringement in posted videos? The algorithm for automatic copyright flags has been updated, and it's causing havoc with content creators that use clips or sounds from games in particular. Is this a problem going forward for all of you?
So, while it doesn't personally affect me, because most of my parodies came from outside, like, pop music, rap, or not, I don't usually do rap music, but like rock music, Disney music, those are usually already in the algorithm, and so my music is usually already flagged for whatever it is. I don't get video game flags, I get music flags, which is a lot of the problem that actually is going on, too, with YouTubers right now. If they had in-game video music playing, they could get flagged for that. At the same time, I think the system is stupid because it's a little too black and white. I feel the DMCA seriously needs to be updated because There's a lot of content that comes out right now that the DMCA more or less prohibits against. It's the digital music copyright stuff.
Yep.
It's difficult because the way we view copyright right now is pretty archaic, and it doesn't account for the different types of creativity that have appeared with the advent of the internet, and all these programs allow us to play around with the things that we have now. And as such, you know, it's just a really rough situation, and a lot of the companies that support the current DMCA and the RIAA and everybody else that holds copyrights, they're making a ton of money. They don't want to change it. They don't realize that they're making less money than they could be if they changed it. And the thing is, they keep making less and less money because people keep getting frustrated with the way it is currently. So people seek outside sources to get music, to get parodies, to get anything. And so they're losing money, which is why they're cracking down, not realizing that it hurts them more than it helps them.
Yeah, and it really comes back down to it. I think I talk about him a lot on the show, and hopefully he'd be on here sometime. That would be amazing. But Mike B, aka Phony, dropped 3 videos on his YouTube about this. And he walks through a lot. Well, he talked about it before it happened, and then after it happened, and then he had like one video wrapping up everything. That is, if you make YouTube videos, if you do not own all the property in it outside of like gameplay footage and things, like CGs and music are the 2 biggest things you get flagged on. Music and someone's art. Like if you show like the cinematic from like a start, like from WoW or from StarCraft 2 or something like that, that gets flagged. But if you don't own it, you can't monetize it. Now a lot of other things you can. I know that like if you have gameplay footage of games, these distributors don't care, but the music is not always owned by
distributors
that person.
care.
Exactly.
It's really interesting. There's a couple different solutions they could have for this. One includes multiple copyrighted videos. So like you can claim copyright on, say, you know, if you're doing the voiceover to a Let's Play and you've included a couple background music, you can claim copyright to a little bit of the voiceover. You can claim copyright to your Let's Play, so the video. And then you can let the company claim copyright to the audio, and you can split monetization or something like that. That's a much better solution than, well, somebody else claimed copyright on this, so nobody makes any money.
Yeah.
Well,
and then on the other hand, I mean, a lot of the video game companies came out. They were like, we didn't want this. We're totally fine with other people uploading Let's Plays, partial bits of cinematics, reviews, videos, parodies, music, everything. They're totally fine with it. The problem is like 1 or 2 companies pushed for it, and it's dumb.
Well, it's such a complicated and layered problem with all these copyright issues, because as you said, indeed, companies didn't ask for it and YouTube went with it anyways. But then again, copyright has always been a problem on YouTube, always. And it's now the partner people who are being pushed out into the cold. And that's the main problem why it's now everything is so blown up. Because you have people who were partnered with certain networks, and I'm talking about the gaming content, and those networks have been given the choice. Either you stand up and you take responsibility for those who make this content, and if they have copyright strikes, you're to blame, or you don't. And they've chosen with the majority to say, nope, we won't. They've pushed them into the cold. YouTube, his copyright system, has gone nuts, has gone haywire, just shooting around like, okay, that's something we can copyright, that's something, and people lost income. And the end result is that a whole bunch of companies are coming out and saying, hey guys, hang on, this is not something we wanted. We like it when you make content for us because it gives us revenue, it gives us notification like, oh, cool, that's a game I want to play. And thankfully a bunch of companies are saying, I think there are only 2, Nintendo and Sega, who are like, nope, you're not going to do that, that's our content, you're not going to be allowed to make revenue from it. But others are really cool. I mean, Blizzard has stated with all their games, like, it's perfectly fine, use our content.
Blizzard is all, you know, if you get flagged on it, you know, just content, like, contest it, and it's fine. We'll send it back up. We don't care.
Yep.
We want you to put it up.
It just depends. Not all games are like that. Not all games are like that. So.
No. And they are stupid, because if people can't cover your games, they're going to move on to games that they can cover, and you won't get the attention.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think Total Biscuit had a really great video on it, and he highlights that people will go to YouTube channels and content creators. They're going to watch the personality. They're not going to be... There are the people that when a game comes out, you know, it's the first day of, you know, Grand Theft Auto 5. People are looking up Grand Theft Auto 5 videos. But after that, if it's a video game you hadn't heard a crazy amount about, like, say you're watching Total Biscuit or you're watching PewDiePie, you know, just some big YouTuber, you watch them for their personality. They'll play a game and you're enjoying their personality, but you're also sitting there like, you know what, I might also enjoy this game. And then maybe you go out and buy the game. Yep. But if you hadn't been watching that YouTuber with that personality, you wouldn't even heard of that game. Or maybe it would have taken you longer to get to it. And so with limiting these content creators in what they can upload or make money off of, you're telling them, well, we don't want you to, you know, promote our game for us.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really dumb.
We don't want that free advertisements. Well, it's also, like Nintendo has said, we don't want to give anyone permission to use our content. This is our music. This is everything we've done. And I mean, copyrights, Boogie said it really nicely. The Wild Wild West days of YouTube are over. And some people are going to have to make the choice. Are we going to keep on looking for gold on the YouTube, or are we going to move away? Because copyright is not something that they're putting on us because they hate us. It's laws. And the system that they're using is automatic, because there's so much hours of content that are being uploaded every hour.
It's unattainable. You can't track it ever anymore. No,
it's impossible. So if they can fix that system, that the copyright strike system improves and that it's more accurate, that would solve a whole bunch of problems. If they start communicating with people and say, this is stuff that you can upload and this is stuff that will get flagged, that would save a whole bunch of problems. I remember a video from Nobbel Letomi about a year or two ago about a bogus company who was claiming copyright on her music. I think and they had like a Facebook page that said, you get the pleasure of uploading content, we get the pleasure of taking your money. And they just flagged that copyright out of the blue, and the system was automatic. So you, as a YouTube creator, had to go through the progress. They created
a company to flag specific contents.
Yeah, ridiculous. But the system allows it. So you, as a content creator, have to check every one of your videos, and I'm up to 600 by now, something like that. That's a lot of work, you know, so...
It is indeed.
And then the suggestion of Letomi of, instead of instantly flagging everything, why not a compromise? If there's 10 seconds in a video of an hour-long video, why not give a certain percentage of money to the company who holds the copyright, and the rest to the one who actually made the rest of the content? Yeah, it's still a long way to go.
We're going to definitely see changes. Obviously, it is evolving, and it is going to be, you know, sort of almost evolving in a way, because for a long time you got away with a lot of stuff. Now that it is so much more of an industry and that there's really no other competition for YouTube, they obviously know that they can lock down their properties a little better and control what they want to do. And it's still fine. I think we're going through some challenging growing pains currently, and things will be a little better in the future. We just got to wait it out. We'll see how it happens. Because they're not gonna let people leave or make their content creators so mad because then they lose their money. Because that's the whole point. They need to make money off advertisements to run their website. So we'll see.
Well, the way that I get it is that they want to move people away from those networks who are just absorbing those little channels, because everything falls under them, and they want to get people into the YouTube AdSense program itself, so that they have control over it. That's the main reason why they're now laying down the law, at least as far as I get it.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. So again, it's just growing pains right now. We'll see it get better in the future. People I think we need to almost throw up the I wish I had the soundbite from Convert to Raid, the Calm the F Down number, and that little skit they had put together. But if you guys have heard that on Convert to Raid, I'll put that right here. So. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, well, I mean, if the changes are not, if everything is going to be like it have been for me the last year, then people shouldn't be too worried about it.
Yeah, it's fair enough. So I want to bring this right back to World of Warcraft oriented. This comes in from, I guess it's Sergeant Dom. And it's, if you could ensure one thing to come true in Warlords of Draenor, what would it be?
Like, one thing that's going to happen?
That's all the question was. I'm assuming it might be character-oriented, or if, like, a system would be implemented or something that would change the game. Sure.
I don't understand the question. He wants to predict what's going to happen in Warlords of Draenor.
No, it's if you.
No, it's not a prediction.
It's not really a prediction. It's like, what would you want to see happen?
Oh! I want to see Gul'dan. I want to see Gul'dan betray everybody and backstab and.
Oh, okay, yeah, yep.
I like that.
I don't know.
Female character.
Yeah.
Your role.
What?
Female characters, your role.
Oh gosh, I know.
No, I mean, there is that, but you know, I can't just say that. I'd like to get more specific, and I'd actually like to have a raid that is similar to Ulduar in its layout, and
yes,
and
I'm on that page.
Yeah, I want to have something that feels like a really fun competitive raid that gives you a lot to grasp, a lot to learn, and a lot of really great content to go through.
I like that idea. I like that it you get a little bit of non-linearity. Another thing that I'd like to see would be that I liked about Ulduar, where you had little teleporters where you could pick where you were going.
Yeah.
And I really like that system better. I mean, you guys are going to talk about lore, and I'm going to talk about the nitty-gritty of raiding. But
sure,
I like that system better than just like a zone in and magically zone to the right place. Like,
right.
That's just dumb.
And I'm going to run through this trash directly to the next boss. And I'm going to run through the straight line from this trash directly to the next boss.
It disconnects
doesn't it make so much more sense where you're like, oh, I'm in an instance with a transit system, and I will take this transit system to get to the place where I'm going and select it, than to just zone in and like magically be at the place where you're going to be, and it's buggy. I mean, as we saw on PTR. So I'd like to see that. I'd like to see a little bit of non-linearity. I'd like to see Ulduar-sized raids in every tier, and I'd like to see where they're going with the changes to Mythic raiding. And
it just like even outside of like the transit system of it, it makes more sense of if you are attacking an entire like mini city. You don't just run from one room directly to the next, and the rooms all magically connect to the big guy.
Yeah.
There's different sections of the city, and they've all got big bads in them, and you have to take them all out.
Yeah.
That's just all there is to it. Anyway.
But besides that, you also got to keep in mind that you can't put too much trash in a raid, and the bosses do need to be accessible, so you can't do too much with it.
Right.
I mean, Ulduar is grand, and I would love to see Ulduar many, many times more over, but yeah, I can understand it.
I mean, here's another thing I'd like to see. I'd like to see another raid where all of the storyline and the final boss and everything isn't orcs and horde. Can we raid Stormwind? Because I would completely kill Varian Rin.
You go take Anduin.
I love Logosh.
I actually really like Anduin, even though he started out as kind of a wimp. I liked him quite a bit in some of the books, and I think he's pretty cool. So I wouldn't kill Anduin, but Varian Rin is just a very uncharismatic character. And also just like all of the storyline thus far, especially halfway through MoP and going to the end of MoP, has been very horde-centric. I realize the argument is that, Alliance get to go raid their enemy's city. I'm sorry, it felt shoehorned in. It felt completely shoehorned in.
Right.
It's like, there's this big horde story about horde problems. Oh, and by the way, Alliance is like, hey guys, we're along for the ride too. And that's, and like,
it's funny because
that's really what it felt like.
At BlizzCon, the way that Metzen was trying to explain it was this whole thing of, well, the Alliance are kind of the superpower, and they're really just in control, so there's not much we can do with your story.
Oh yeah,
sorry. I've heard
There's
that,
tons of great things that they could do.
I know.
I mean, let's be honest, like Lich King, Arthas, that was never a very Alliance feeling villain to me, but that it could have been quite a bit more like Garrosh, and I would have liked to see some of Warlords go down that path as well. I'm pumped because Alliance have a much cooler looking home city and home base, but I think that that's going to be the only thing that I'm going to love at the beginning of the Warlord story, because it looks like orcs, and more orcs, and lots more orcs.
Yay, orcs!
And orcs.
Well, and I love orcs.
In this section of the map,
I mean, let's be honest, more than 75% of the raiders at my level are Horde, so maybe that's all they want to see is orcs, but I'd kind of like to see some not orcs too.
I think a lot of...
MoP
go ahead, Nobbel.
MoP did give a proper story to the Alliance, if you compare it to the Cataclysm. Now that was awful. And Mist of Pandaria did come back with it, and up to patch 5.3, they were on a roll, everybody was doing their thing, and then they come in with that ridiculous robot cat story compared to the epic moment with Thrall and Vol'jin, and that's where they dropped the ball. And that's rolled into the next patch, because that was the introduction story, as in we're now going to siege Orgrimmar. And they gave a couple of bullshit explanations as to why we're actually going in there. And that's where it fell apart. Why not make a completely separate story for the Alliance, invading from Ashenvale, with the Night Elves that we hardly saw, with the Draenei, with the Worgen?
That would have been a cool story.
That would have been awesome. But once again, the excuse is, yeah, we can't do everything at the same time. We wanted to put Dalaran above Orgrimmar, but we couldn't.
They did.
I mean, Dalaran is still the same as it was in Wrath of the Lich King. Well, it should be in the hands of the Alliance with the Blood Elves in the prison. But we're not seeing that. And they've revamped Orgrimmar 3 times during one expansion. So why can you do it for the Horde and not for the Alliance? And that will always be the discussion. And then people are going to reply with, why the Alliance? You get your stuff. We didn't just raid your city. You also did that. We didn't kill your war chief anymore because Vol'jin was already your war chief. We killed a war chief. Yeah. We didn't... I was listening to an interview with Dave Kozak and Jesse Cox, where Dave Kozak was kind of tired of all these arguments from the Alliance, that they'll never be pleased with what they're doing. And I was just listening to it, and are we really just disconnected of what's happening in the game? I can see what your plan is on paper. It just doesn't come into the game, and that's the major problem. Yeah. And your fear of the main city is going to be beautiful and the rest is going to be moi. I share that fear. I think we're going to have another Cataclysm where everybody follows Big Boy Thrall around. And I love Thrall, he's one of my favorite characters. Yeah. But I want more. I want Draenei, I want Blood Elves, I want Worgen. I want everybody in the story, not just humans and orcs. Done with that.
Yeah, that's... I think it took... You have to look at how people took the end of the mob storyline and think it took a huge error to make the Alliance storyline of raiding your enemy's home city less compelling. How big of an error was that? And that's what I see when I see the developers talk about it. They're like, but you're raiding your enemy's, hometown. That is pretty much the amount of thought that they put into the storyline. Yep. It's cool because it's the one sentence long explanation is compelling. Okay, the one sentence long explanation is compelling. The execution in the game was extremely flawed. It was very flawed. Yeah. So, I mean, sure, the idea, when you look at it on paper, the Alliance storyline should have been more compelling. And the fact that it wasn't, and the fact that they're saying, oh, Alliance players are just never going to be satisfied, that makes me feel a little bit less satisfied that they're going to be looking at our storyline in the next expansion and wanting to give us stuff rather than just giving us, like, the one-sentence storylines and then saying, like, well, you should be satisfied with this. Why aren't you satisfied with this? Oh, maybe you're just not satisfied with anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that goes back to we're getting our first original ever character brought into the World of Warcraft that wasn't already established in the other games or in the beginning of WoW in Warlords. So we'll see how that works. And she's an Alliance character, too. So we'll see how that...
got high hopes.
How she works into the character story, and we'll see. But... One more question real quick, and then I have a message from the Fire Lord himself. And this is a quick one for Nobbel. This comes in from Flux on Terran Mail EU. And it is, Nobbel, is it possible to see Khadgar go as corrupted as Medivh?
I think he was just in the chat and we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Can Khadgar go as corrupted as Medivh? Well, anything is possible. And I don't work for Blizzard, so I can't tell you where they're going to take the story. But why? I mean, Medivh was corrupted from birth. Sargeras infiltrated his mother and then infiltrated him as a baby. So why would Khadgar be corrupted, is the question. So yeah, if there's a motivation behind it, I mean, anybody get corrupted, and then it could be possible.
Yeah. It might happen. I mean, a lot of these questions, I can't imagine your job, as it were, to filter through all this stuff. Because you get asked, I mean, I've just the fact that you're on the show this first time, all the questions, we're not going to get to all of them because there's so many other ones that I just feel are a lot more conjecture-oriented or opinion-based, not actually fact, because there's only so much stuff Blizzard has put into the game. Even though they've been out for so many years, and they have obviously Warcraft and 2 and 3, and the books, they've created such a huge world that you can't put everything into the game. That comes down to manpower, which you don't always have all of it, because they have to meet deadlines and dates and put certain things in and upgrade systems and change stuff and balance the game and do that kind of stuff. So we'll think people always want more. And we've gotten more than we ever have with this expansion. But now people are going to get used to that, and they're going to keep wanting more.
As they should.
Yeah. But again, they've had more people to this. They've actually taken people off of So, you know, whatever, we don't know who, but, you know, with the whole Titan project being, like, sent back to the drawing board or whichever. So those people that were working on that now are where. They have the biggest team ever working on WoW we've ever had before. That's why we have the patches at a more frequent basis, not, like, once every 8 months. Not that drastic, but you know what I mean. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes along. If they can integrate and take more of that manpower to make more story. Because I know a lot of MMOs, like, again, Star Wars: The Old Republic is all story-based. And it was already drinking. So it's and we'll see how that works into the future.
Yeah, but let's be honest here.
I preempted your comment there, Bay.
You did! You knew where I was going!
Sorry, go ahead, Nobbel.
No.
Well, I was just going to say, let's be honest here. I mean, the majority of the people don't play this game for the story. And
no, absolutely true. Totally true.
They do it for the game mechanics and stuff like that. I mean, it's a nice bonus, and ever since Wrath of the Lich King, they've really been increasing the quality of the story. But overall, people don't look it in the game.
Nope. That's totally
that's absolutely me. I mean, I would say Bay is much more interested in lore and the story than I am. If you were to ask me about the things that I'm an expert on in the game, it's 100% game mechanics and rating. It's not really the storyline, but that doesn't make me. For me, the lore and the storyline is awesome color that helps me appreciate the game more.
Yeah.
It's never really going to sway me in terms of playing more or playing less.
Yeah.
But it makes me enjoy my time in the game more, and that's when when I talk about alliance storylines or female characters or bosses whose storylines I really, really liked. I guess since I complained about one, I should probably say one that I liked. I loved the Siege Crafter boss, not just because that was one of the best encounters that Blizzard has made in this expansion, but also because it reminds us that engineering is a thing that is really cute, that is really cute and funny in game, and that's very much part of the character of all of World of Warcraft is engineering and goblins and gnomes, and that whole boss and everything that he says out loud. It's very in tune with the character of what World of Warcraft is like. And that kind of thing, it means a lot to me. Like, I like the boss for its mechanics, but I also thought it was cute and funny, I care about that stuff.
And I'm kind of in a similar boat where I don't go out of my way to read the books or look up character stories. But if it's in the game, it makes me appreciate the situation even more, which I think is why the Lich King storyline was actually so huge, because as you level through Icecrown, he is freaking everywhere. He pops up in the middle of your little quest the second you get an Icecrown, and he's like, hey, I'm just going to do this little stuff right here. You see him. You grow to hate him. You really want his head. And then you finally get to that fight, and there's even more. It's part of the dynamics of the game. But at the same time, you get other bosses where, I think that's why Deathwing felt so weak as a boss too, during that the lore leading up to that fight. Because where did you really see him? I mean, he devastated the world. We can see the physical repercussions of Deathwing on the planet. There's also, leading up to the expansion, there was the little pre-expansion party where occasionally he'd show up and light everybody on fire. But once you got through that, once you were starting to really work your way closer to Deathwing, how often did you see him? How often did he feel like a threat?
Well, not so much as a threat. I mean, I remember seeing him a couple of times. He was in the Twilight Highlands quest. He was in the 4.3, out of the top of my head, the dungeon where you escorted Thrall. He was flying in the sky. He was there with the button boss, where you had to push the button and switch into the realm, and he was taunting you like, ha ha ha, this guy's going to kill you. But my main problem with Deathwing is that they murdered his character. They turned him from the scheming, conniving guy into just the raw, I'm a dragon, fear me guy. And that's such a waste.
Dragon.
It was more of a dragon and less Neltharion, I believe. Yeah.
And that's the beauty of his character.
Yeah.
Oh, such a shame.
So.
Well, we can hope that they learned from these things, because I know one of the criticisms that they took away from Wrath is that people said the Lich King was like popping out of your closet. I mean, he was everywhere. Yeah. And that can be really awesome. I had the same experience as Letomi, where I was leveling through Wrath, and I thought it was really engaging that the Lich King was there threatening me at every turn, and you do some quests and you have to work for him. And those quests where you have to work for him were just very memorable for me. Yeah. But there was a criticism that he was too overpowering. It watered down how scary he was, that he was just everywhere. Everywhere you turned, the Lich King was there.
Yeah, there's a fine line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
And they went the opposite way with Deathwing. And so let's hope that they strike between for the next expansion.
Yeah.
And that it's not an orc.
Novel. How often did we see like the demon soul / dragon soul in game?
As in the weapon that they were using? Well, that's the problem. They place that story in a novel. And often when they do it in a novel, they don't show it in-game. But when we saw the Dragon Soul was in the Well of Eternity dungeon, we saw it in the Thrall Escort quest, we saw it in the cinematic with Deathwing. That's about it.
And then just in the cinematic with Deathwing where Thrall blasts him with it.
Yep, that's it. And then it was in...
And that's supposed to be like a huge hinging point for that raid.
Yeah.
Yeah, you help Thrall into becoming Uber Thrall and take out Deathwing.
Yeah.
We are gonna get that demon soul out of the time period, and then we're gonna mess up time, but not really mess up time, and then we're going to go through the Cataclysm with a horrible ending. Horrible expansion.
No, it's okay. We got some more questions to go to, but we're talking about bosses right now and then the messages for people, and we have one right here for you guys real quick that if you don't know yet, the Fire Lord has something to say to you all, and I will just get out of his way real quick and let him do his thing. So, here he is.
Greetings, mortal. I have returned to present you a challenge. The December donation drive is your chance to be part of the expansion, development, and gearing of Final Boss TV. To give you some incentive, avoiding the flames of sulfur! I'll also be dropping some loot. A donation of at least $5 will get you mentioned in an official thank you video and immortalized on my Fire Lord's favorite Hall of Fame webpage. $15 will grant you everything previously mentioned, plus 4 of our custom Final Boss TV silicone wristbands. Donating $25 will have you immortalized and thanked with 6 wristbands. And have you seen the Final Boss t-shirts? But don't think you can afford one? We will be granting you a raffle ticket for a t-shirt giveaway. Multiple $25 donations will be accepted for additional loot and raffle tickets. And finally, our $100 tier will get you everything mentioned previously, minus a raffle ticket. Why? Because you just guaranteed yourself a custom crew t-shirt, allowing you to show off your Final Boss love all over the world of Warcraft. What? Oh, I had to. Of course, if you're feeling especially generous, you can donate a custom amount and receive awesome incentives for the highest tier you qualify for. Are you up for the challenge, insects? Want to head over to the donation event page at FinalBoss.tv. What a handsome elemental.
Oh boy. Thank you, you charming, flaming monstrosity, you. But thank you all very much if you have donated before already or are planning on it. You have until January 1st. Again, we have lots of little things to upgrade the show with. Technology, lights, cameras, mics, and stuff like that. We want to be able to give you guys back a little piece of the growing of the show. It's been an awesome ride so far in these last 6 months. We have a little more special details on that on the next episode. But again, thank you all very much for all of your support so far and continued as we traverse all the stuff we have for you. But a couple more questions real quick. Questions. So this comes in from he has funny characters over his name, but it's Slaanesh, I assume. It's Warhammer 40k. But he asks, if you had to fight the Burning Legion, what bosses could be the main villain other than Sargeras? Are there other big name demons in the Burning Legion there, Nobbel, that would...
Yeah, I'm trying... Hakar the Houndmaster.
Okay.
I mean, the problem with demons is you never know, did we actually kill them or did they just return to the Twisting Nether? So we don't know exactly how many demons
we
are
could
going to
face
return from the dead.
Draxus.
Draxus. We could. Well, yeah.
We could.
Your luck might depend on whether you're a gnome or not.
That's true.
I mean, we know that Mal'Ganis is still out there. We know that Kil'jaeden is still out there. We might see the blue guy, brother of Kil'jaeden. Come on, Velen, Kil'jaeden, and Archimonde.
Archimonde.
Yes.
We might see him. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of people. And then the unintroduced. I mean, the Burning Legion has been corrupting planets all over the universe. Who knows what races they got into the Burning Legion.
Mm-hmm. You face Jiraxis. Eredar Lord. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. So, a more question came in about the one asked by Moltres. I'm just trying to condense it down. So,
yes.
It's, do you think Sargeras has any contact with the old gods or has anything to do with their corruption? And is he more powerful than them?
According to the old gods, no. The funny thing is, I was making this video and I got up to some new information that I had forgotten about. If you go to the Arcatraz, there's a minion of the old gods there. And he says that the old gods are more powerful than the Burning Legion. That they should kneel down for the old gods.
Really?
Yeah, really. He's there with the Millhouse Mana Storm encounter, so he's there. I know that the old gods know about the Burning Legion. The other way around, not so much. I don't think the Burning Legion knows about the old gods. When the Titans, they came to Azeroth, Sargeras had already left the Pantheon party, so he doesn't know about that. So I don't think they also have anything to do with corruption of the old gods. But what you also need to realize is old gods and Titans, that's a whole bunch of speculation and unknown lore that they just haven't told yet. So there you go.
This is going to be a outside plug for someone, but Sarosmar of Mazragos EU asked, maybe it's been done to death, but he's new to the stream, but has raid trash been done to death? Now, we don't have to really answer it crazily on the show here, but Danger Dolan on YouTube had actually put out a video a lot too long ago about raid trash. And it's a good little listen to. He kind of breaks down when it's good, when it's bad, and will we keep seeing more of it. So if you want to go find out some more about that, you can go check him out on the YouTubes.
Great guy, by the way, Danger Dolan. Check him out.
Danger Dolan. Just Danger Dolan on the YouTube, and he has a trash video, so you can find out about his take on raid trash. But I think it definitely serves a purpose, but sometimes it's not. And for you, though, Nobbel, you made your Horde and Alliance side Siege of Orgrimmar video, and you get to see both the Alliance story that progresses through the instance and then the Horde side, and I never saw the Alliance. But in that, it definitely shows you how trash can be done well in that regard to help tell a story. Yeah. So that was really interesting. So it was
really cool to see, actually, that difference. I didn't even realize it the first time that I ran the instance, and then you see the gnomes come in and help out the Alliance, and then you run a Horde, and they are so much harder. I've wiped so many times on that stupid trash.
Oh my god, that trash. I've heard horror stories of it.
Yeah, really it is.
The trash leading up to Garrosh in LFR.
We have people die on it, not in LFR. Just saying.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm sure we wipe more in LFR than we do in regular, because I am assuming that in an organized raid, people know not to break sheeps or pull extra padding.
You would think that.
I assume that generally this is the case. And in LFR, I swear to God, it doesn't matter how many times I sheep, it will be broken the second the tank pulls.
I know.
LFR, man, come on. You can't expect those things. You can't expect that. People just need to hit everything, and then it needs to go down, and anything harder than that is normal.
I can't really joke because I made a song about breaking sheeps, because I like AoEing.
You did, absolutely.
I did.
More plugs.
But
yep.
But for the love of God. and then the people that, well, the hard part about it in LFR is when you get all the the little ads that don't die until you kill the spawning ad.
Yep. Yeah.
In LFR, people don't read that, so they try to run back to the entrance, and they drag that trash with them the entire way. And then people zone into LFR and they're like, "Hey guys, what's up? Why am I being killed?"
Yeah. So I think
so you have to wait.
That brings back more on the trash talk, which I think it does good.
It's possible that certain types of trash just don't work as well in LFR as they do in main raid. I mean, I would say if we have to put up with trash, I would prefer that it was trash where you actually had to stand in a specific place, or at least interrupt a specific thing. I mean, I guess it's kind of a rock and a hard place. There's not really a great answer, but I don't know if the best answer is just not to have trash either.
That's what Danger Dolan goes into more of this in the video. There are some instances and raids where you just skip entire rooms of these of trash before bosses or as you traverse things, which has two damning qualities. A, you're just alleviating yourself content that you're supposed to be like experiencing because you're playing the game for it, and you're totally devaluing the creators of the artists, the coders, people that made the game, that made that stuff, and it totally ruins all of their hard work because you just really skip it. And what fun is that?
My favorite trash has to be the trash before spoils that does the yellow cleave. You know what I'm talking about, the skull splitters.
Skull splitters, yeah.
Faye knows what I'm talking about because he's melee. The skull splitters. I really like that trash because you know what? That trash makes me pay attention for at least one or two seconds because we mercilessly mock any melee that die to those skull splitters, and our tank likes to pull ball. So, but I mean, that's a good thing because the melee used to die to that. And then I was like, well, maybe if I stand at max melee range and also maybe bubble some of it because I have bubble on a 1.6 second cooldown or 1.6 minute cooldown, then maybe I can just, survive through it. And then I didn't get mocked any longer.
As long as we don't get Ultraxian trash ever again, I will probably be happy.
Oh,
trash that you can't speed up is the worst kind of trash.
Yeah.
Slowly, these dragons will come at you, one by one, while your raid waits.
In that voice, too.
Patiently.
In that voice.
I don't think that raids should be without trash. I'm actually kind of a fan of the level of trash implementation in Siege. I think it wasn't excessive. I think it wasn't too small. It wasn't too low. It wasn't too high. Maybe the trash in the first part of the instance is a little bit too long compared to the end of the zone. But I don't think it was that bad. I mean, I think some of the trash was interesting. You have to stand in front of some of it. You shouldn't stand in front of other pieces of it.
Yeah.
You're never going to have a raid without trash. I don't think we should want a raid without trash.
Yeah. So there are definitely still more questions in here. We cannot get to all of them as we are running out of time. Are there any ones that came in that you wanted to bring up, or chat room had anything that's really awesome? Ursinity of Bailgun actually asked, what's your favorite or least favorite encounters this tier, normal or heroic? But I'll let Nobbel's video speak for that. He has a video coming out after this is all done, where he counts down his top 10 favorites. It's like 30 minutes long, so...
favorite this tier, we can answer.
Well, favorite this tier?
This tier.
Did the question say this tier?
It's just the normal heroic, least favorite encounters from this tier. Yeah. This tier, I don't know. Do you have a favorite boss from this tier, Anna? Siegecrafter?
We're not done yet, so I don't know if I can say. I really like Garrosh so far.
Yeah,
I think it's a really cool combination. I'm not going to say he's my favorite end boss of all time. That's not where I'm going with this. I find him very enjoyable to work on, though, because there are moments of AE, there are moments of mitigation, there are moments where I can use bubble, there are lots and lots of moments where I need to plan my cooldowns and my first CDs. I just find it to be a boss that makes me push all of my buttons, and I like that. And so I have found him to be very fun to work on so far. I'm kind of bummed out that I'm probably not going to see him for a couple of days here with the holidays.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you.
I don't know if I'd call it my favorite. I mean, Siegecrafter was amazing. Siegecrafter was wonderful.
Siegecrafter was super fun.
I think I actually really enjoy Siegecrafter because I'm the kind of raider that likes to be the utility raider. I've come to the conclusion that even if I stand still in turret, my DPS is not as great as everyone else's. So I would rather do something that's also beneficial to the raid, but is not necessarily stand there in turret. So I like doing Siegecrafter because I'm like, oh, I want a belt. I'm on the belt. Put me on the belt. And like in previous raids, like back in Cataclysm, like what's his face? The Rylith. Rylith was one of my favorite fights
because I was
always
the dancing boss.
I was driving on Rylith.
Yeah, the dancing boss.
So did I. I drove on Rylith as well. Yeah. And everyone was always like, why is there a melee? And then I met the designer who designed Rylith, and I talked to Xeroth for like 4 hours at BlizzCon about how terrible that fight was before I realized that he had designed it. He told me afterwards.
Oh gosh.
I also
got baited.
had to drive.
Funny story about Rylith. My guild had been stuck on Rylith for a long time. Just doing it regular because all the drivers we had were doing a terrible job. Like our regular raid leader, who's one of our tanks, was trying to drive, and that was not going well. Good. No. And the healer was trying to drive, and that was not going well. And so we were like, okay, we'll put the top range DPS on it, and that did not go well. And so we put the second top range DPS on it, and he just was so late on everything.
Oh.
And it got to the point where like we'd been wiping for a couple nights on this boss because we just couldn't get it. We'd give everybody multiple tries, hoping they'd figure it out. And then it got to the point where I always had like a couple of beers next to my table as we were raiding because I was like, it's not gonna be tonight, guys.
Nobbel knows about that.
And sure enough, I think it was through my second beer, the raid leader whispered me and he's like, "All right, it's your turn to drive." And I'm like, "What? No, I'm not." Okay. Yeah. We got it the first try. And I told them later, I was like, just so you know, I was drunk. And they're like, great, you're going to drunk drive every time we do this now.
FinalBossTV does not condone drunk driving in World of Warcraft. Running while drunk. We are not...
while drinking and driving Rylith is probably not a good idea.
Oh, it was beautiful. It worked. Yeah. It worked every freaking time.
It was actually one of the reasons why I went main spec Ret is because we were doing that. We cleared all the normal bosses. And on that fight, I don't remember why I ended up driving, but it was something connected to the fact that there was nothing else for me to do because I was off spec on that fight. And then we, of course, because Firelands was so easy, we got to Heroic Rylith, I think, in that very next week. And then it was like, well, Anna drove last week, so Anna has to drive this week too. And then I ended up Ret on that boss, and I didn't sit, even though that was my off spec. I didn't sit because I was driving the boss. And that's one of the things that gave me time in a hardcore raid as Ret, and then I ended up going main spec Ret. So I guess I have Rylith to thank for that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I think it's about that time, everybody. If you have more questions to ask any of us, you can always send it over to Nobbel Letomi or Final Boss on Twitter, and we are all rather active. We will all get back to you. Or Anna, ask any of us, whatever you need. Because I know there were other questions that we couldn't get to, but we probably went way over today overall because of the downage, the Twitch apocalypse. So, again, around the table of the co-host of FinalBossTV, Anna Phil. Thank you again, Anna.
Nice to see everybody tonight. Nobody made fun of my ears, so I feel like this is
It was a hit. They loved them.
Yes, my little reindeer ears.
It's awesome. Absolutely.
Merry Christmas, everybody, and happy holidays.
Silver Letomi on the YouTubes. Thank you again for being here, Letomi.
On the YouTubes, the internet, and, on FinalBossTV now.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very well welcome.
Well, thank you so much for coming on with us.
And then the champagne. Is that champagne or wine?
It's champagne, my friend.
Champagne, the bubbly. Nobbel the Noble.
Here listening to you about raiding.
Yep,
perfect.
Yep, perfect. But thank you again, sir, for being on. It was awesome. A delight.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for talking and the nice chats. And please, if you ever need me again, just give a shout.
We know where to find you.
We do, or at least I do now. But I'm over here on Twitch TV, and we will see you guys next week. Again, if you missed the first. Next week is going to be Brutal, the GM of Static, and a budding YouTuber. He does Life of a Guild Leader. He does videos about how to, basically the background of being a top-tier raid leader, guild leader in World of Warcraft. And he has some funny little skits he does too now. Awesome stuff. He is beautiful, bald, and bearded. And then we also have Coltrane. The Coltrane from Convert to Raid will be here next week. But from everyone else, behind the scenes here, you guys turn your camera back.
We're getting kicked.
Oh, why are you
hit the actual limit?
What happened?
I don't know.
Oh no!
It's the Skype limit, man.
Oh no! What's this craziness?
You've reached your 4-hour limit for this group video call.
We've been talking too long.
We've been talking too long. This is terrible.
Skype is trying to tell us something.
Oh my goodness. Well, everyone, we'll see you next week for episode 22. Have a great one.
Wait, Nobbel needs to do his line thing.
Oh, okay, Nobbel, go for it.
Really? You're gonna make me their monkey? Really?
Yep.
Fine.
Do it.
Should he reconnect to the video call?
It's fine. It's on the Final Boss logo. Go for it.
No, I just did it. Alright, until next time, guys. See ya.
Yay!
Awesome.
Yay, he did it! We made him his beat.
Yay!
But at least I didn't have to sing a song. That's good.
Yeah.